Hello, my name is Miguel Yuliez, and this is the more fleshed out block mesh for the portfolio assignment, where I will have the gameplay fleshed out, the mechanics fleshed out, and I will be showcasing the different objectives. So you start on the tower as before, and there are three paths. The first path is this floating island area. The second path would be through a tunnel down there, and then the final pass would be on the ground level. And already you can see one of the mechanics going on, which is reducing the player's health, which once it's at zero will make them respawn and reset the level. So by default, there are fields that are in play, and you can see the field decreasing there. As the player steps out of the field, they will take continuous damage. And so one way to circumvent this is to activate a lantern, which are these, by pressing E. And once you do, you can see that I've stopped taking damage. And you can't really see the field from inside, but if I were to walk out, you can see that it does cover a portion of the area. So as long as you are not in this field, you will not be taking damage. It's usually a way to figure out what your next plan of action is. However, because we're on the floor level with the enemies, which is another mechanic, you won't be really given much time. As for the enemies, they're controlled so that whenever the miss a player, they will immediately start to chase them. And once the enemies connect with you, you take damage, and the enemies get destroyed. One other thing is you can see in the distance there's this rotating object that is a cube fruit. Um, and it serves as a way to get health. It will refill you to max HP whenever you run into it. And the fruits are scattered throughout the map, like you can see, one's right there, and they're usually in places that you would not normally go through. And the main objective is to get to this other tower all the way to the top, as that's where the end point is located at. And once you get to the top and end the game, it will also show you all of the side objectives that are recorded. Oh, I don't have HP. I'm just gonna make a beeline towards the end now. While I'm going there, I can talk about color choice. I intended for this game to really fit a black and white aesthetic, and that's why the enemies are black and everything else is white. I did intend to have more decorations. Crap. However, I just did not have the time in order to fully flesh out more. The ground path is the hardest path, and that kind of punishes the player for failing the jumping sections of this part. If I were to make improvements, the platforming for the towers would also be a priority because of failing could reset the entire progress, which doesn't leave as much time for the player, as you can see right there. Another thing I didn't have time to implement would be the sound cues and sound effects, as it there is just no sound. I would primarily have sound effects for entering the field, activating the field, and so on and so forth. All right, so you couldn't tell from the right away, but the three objectives or the three side objectives, do you record how many lanterns were lit, how many fruits were taken, and how many enemies were ran into. And this is because uh, each one is pretty much scattered out. You have this group of enemies right here, but you also have enemies that are in this secondary area too, as well as the fruit. And so it kind of encourages more exploration if a person really wants to see everything there is. And that should be it.